link over here. Anyway, everyone, welcome. It's basically is going to be an introductory streaming, and I actually wanted to use Zoom to plug in so that I can use the whiteboard and draw things and be able to show you different kind of hands and the desktop screen and all that, so that there are several kind of hands that you need to understand the the types and the structure. This is the most important thing. I'll go over it in a few sec. Um, okay, it looks like people are coming, so I don't need to be bogged down with my mobile phone. Anyway, so there are several parts to it. Welcome to this first YouTube channel live, and I've never done it before, so I thought I scheduled it very nicely. It was streaming link and all that, but somehow I was not able to go back into it, to stream live like I'm doing now. So I guess I will have to watch some videos or look into the help files to see how I can schedule it and then be able to go back to it. Um, so most probably, while doing that, I'll also be using Zoom. For me, it's very convenient for me to schedule Zoom meetings. The good thing about Zoom meeting is you can be very interactive with me. You can ask questions, and I can explain to you, because the most important thing in palmistry, astrology, and these kind of knowledge is that people read a lot about it. People come across a lot of material, but they are unable to apprehend what it actually means. For example, if in the in your the shape of your hands and the lines in your hand, the marks in your hand, they what do they mean, and the identification of exact mark. For example, a triangle. What is a triangle in your hand, or maybe for that matter, what is the a star, or a brain line, and what is the behavior of a brain line or a heart line. A lot of people who are actually, I've seen a lot of practicing people who have practiced these things for years and years and years. They are unable to apprehend um, what those lines mean. Whereas it's so simple. If you just pay attention to what I'm telling you, you should have no problem in identifying what kind of hand you have, and the lines and the marks within your hand. Uh, the Let me go back and start all over with the first question: that what is fate? A lot of people are like very itchy about what the fate is, and it's like something controlling them out of their control. It's something externally, or some a power out there that is telling you to do this and that and that. Is that a some kind of an external force that is acting upon you? Yes, there are forces that are acting upon. That's what is a fate. Fate is not something that people say, oh, you know what, I have something that is written in the stone, that I must do this. You can always alter. There's a choice. And why is there a choice? The choice is your struggle and your strength, and your perseverance and your learning and your wisdom. The most important thing is your wisdom, because when you learn, you become wise. And when you become wise, and the wisdom is given to you for the same reason that you can dispel your external and internal biases. The influence on you is actually what is the fate. Anything that can go through you. For example, if I say, if I swear on you, or say something, give, define your, uh, a character, something that you don't like, so you will get angry. So that's like my comments will provoke you. So that provocation is what is called a fate. So what is happening is that the whole universe is tied to each other. We are like part and parcel of an existence. That existence is something that influences us, and we react to it. And when we react to it in a certain manner, that we, in our word, we call it a takdir, or a fate. Of It's like a measurement of, like science talks about it. Science says, if a force, if an object is lying in the space, or when there's no external forces lying, it will keep on lying. It will not move until an external force moves it. Or if an object is moving, it will not come to stop until somebody stops it. So the science itself says that there are influences that will make your behavior in a predictable behavior. Uh, Theory of relativity, for example, is the same thing. The push and pull between the gravity. What in certain in few words, the gravity is the one that pushes and pulls the all the planets and the solar systems and the galaxies and all that together into a system. It's just like you have two magnets, very powerful magnets, and you bring them to closer to each other, and they will repel. They will not come to each other. They will not attach to each other. They will just repel. The forces coming out from the magnetic energy that coming out of them will be pushing them away as a polarity. And then on the other hand, if you just take the simple iron and bring it to the magnet, it will pull it. So that pull and push is actually keeping everything intact in the universe. And that's a very basic, common idea of how we have these solar systems and all that, and influences on us. So same way, we are human beings. So we live in an environment. So that environment begins with how we are conceived, how we are born, and how we are raised. A person goes to an ordinary school as compared to a person goes to a grammar school, and the brought up of of the people. A poor person born in a poor home, and a rich boy born in a rich home, they will all have different kind of environments, and their brought up will be different. So you can take two identical people and put them in two different environments, and you will see that their behavior will slightly change. That change itself is the external influence that we take, and we react to it. So that what is basically a fate. So if you can pre-calculate, I mean, these days you have computers, you have technology. A lot of things are happening on the social media. You can go and see that they predict your behavior, and your likeness, and what you like and what you don't like, and they push ads to for you. And they try to sell something to you based upon your browsing trends. So basically a behavior can be a behavior is predictable based upon your past. So if we record your past, and the past is studied, and then we can predict your present and your future. Okay, so that's what it is. How good we are at it is a different issue. It's still is This knowledge is still uh, not gone as scientific as it should have been. But I guess the new times are coming. I have come across a an article where somebody actually researched on the size of the index finger, and if you have a short, medium, or long index finger, which is the this finger, actually it shows a certain temperament of a person, how a man reacts to it, and a woman. There are two different behaviors for both of them. So now there are people who are actually researching on this one. But we have what we have here is thousands and thousands of years of experience. People noticed things happening. They saw that, when sun went down, it got dark, and when sun came up, it was a day. So it's a very simple common sense that if you look at something and something happens and repeatedly happens, it becomes a fact. So every time you do something and the same results come up, it becomes a scientific fact. So certain things we saw that, okay, these lines, people who have certain lines in their hands are certain type and they behave in a certain way. A certain shape of the hand is because. So now what is happening is when you are born, when you are raised, when you are actually studying and learning and growing on your knowledge. So what happens is that you are actually changing yourself and reacting in a certain way. So that reaction itself that is the one that influence your face. For example, if you get when you get mad, it's a very simple analogy that I use, that when you get mad, the expressions will show on your face. So what happens? That your emotions are controlling your features. Same way, if you're happy, if you're extremely happy, you will jump, you will do things, you will utter certain words. So there's a set behavior, identifiable behavior of an angry man and a very happy man. So are the other emotions. When you like a food, for example, there's a certain way of expressing how you like a food, or how you like a person, another person. You will hug them, shake hands. You will try to be, get closer to them. So those are all human reactions towards based upon their emotions. So though your emotions become, or your thoughts become, or your whatever you are inside, it starts to show up on your external, like face or body or structure, human structure. So build, for example, if you want to be an athletic person, so you're built with, you will see that a person built will change. He will look, or she will look more athletic, more trimmed, as compared to a person who's couch potato and not doing anything and getting fatter and fatter and lose body. You can look, by looking at the body or person, you can actually make some kind of an opinion. So when a person is trained to make that kind of an opinion about who you are, what you can do, um, and what reaction we can expect from you. So these, in certain studies, like your face, your eyes, your lips, any part of your body that is readable, and it can tell a story. So the greatest story is written in the hand, you know. Because we use them most for almost everything in our life. The hands are the most important thing, and we focus on them, and we then represent that. Certain parts of the hand are actually representative of some kind of an emotion, or some kind of a reaction, or some kind of a trait that you have, which you built over the years, right from the womb of the mother and onward. So and then your soul spirit plays a big role too. So, this is something very simple that I wanted to explain. And these influences are fate, actually. You're bound by fate, means that things that happen, for example, You want to go to a very good college, but it's very expensive, and you can't afford it. So what is this? You are like now bound by a financial restriction that you cannot go to a better college. So that means that something is influencing to not to do something. And at the same time, if somebody gives you the money, you are able to go to a better college or buy a better car or something like that. So what the availabilities of the chances and the availability of not having sorry, the availability of circumstances and things that are there, you make decisions on that, and then you change your circumstances. So you are bound with whatever is happening around you. For example, you have children, for example. Um, you want to sleep, you just had a baby. So you want to sleep in the morning, but you can't sleep. You're tired. The baby is crying. Your baby needs feeding. Baby needs changing. So you are now influenced by a baby that entirely changes your behavior, your routine, everything, and your finances, everything that you did in your life change with the birth of the baby. So this is what we call it in a very simple word, a fate. Fate is something that you're tied. Is like a gear, for example. You know how the gears go into each other and fit into each other, and it makes a motion. So we are all fitted into some kind of environment that influences us, and we react in a certain way. So and and we make sure that things happen. For example, bus comes on a time, train comes on a time, an airplane leaves on a time and comes on a time, arrives on a time. So these are the things that we make sure that the life becomes more smoother. So we struggle for that. That struggle is the one that is going to somewhat change your life and your fate. And in the terms of like studying, if you didn't have the money to go to a better college, but you had the money to go to some college, but you could work hard to show a better results in an ordinary college and become famous. Like Abraham Lincoln, he was studying under a lamppost, so he made his life out. So for you can actually alter your fate to some extent. You cannot in order to have a full control of your fate, you will have to be in an environment when there is no external influence on you, like the law of the motion, Newton's law of motions. You're lying like a stone in the space, and you are not moving because there's no external pressure on you, there's no external force on you. So you want to be a fate-free person, then you will have to go into an environment where there's no bias. And bias is an influence that is coming up on you, which is acting upon you because of your faith, maybe community, it is something that you believe in or you don't believe in. Even not believing in is also an influence, because it classifies you into a certain group. So believing, not believing, having some kind of a special faith or things like that, they are all influencing you all the time, and they are telling you, forcing you to react in a certain way. So all these are being recorded. So that is recording that we have, and that's what we have. So um, you can actually go and see what is going on. So we'll try to identify in these lessons. So I think I will be much more prepared for next session. Hopefully, I'll use Zoom as a meeting, and you people can come up and participate in Zoom, and then we can have windows and questions, and then we can also at the same time be able to stream it to YouTube live. So this way people can interact. This will be more experience. All I have is the knowledge, and I thought I went into the set up the YouTube, and I'll be able to go back and start it up. But unfortunately, I had no idea how what went wrong there. So I had to start a new channel. So this is, kind of a fate also. But I could have proactively, uh, if had I given myself more time and prepared and done an experiment, probably I would not have gone into this situation. So that's fate, how you can change the fate, how you control your fate. So never give up on that. You have somewhat control, and that somewhat control that you have on fate is a lot. Trust me, it's a lot. You can do miracles with the kind of a control you have, because no matter, even if you have a prophet or a Superman or whoever you are, you are a part of a society, you are a part of a global environment, where you have implications, where you have influences, where biases and all that kind of things, and you cannot escape that unless you are a lone person somewhere in the space when there is no influence on you. And I think that's not a condition anybody wants to be in. So it's a good thing to have influences, and they force us to behave in certain way. Like I have knowledge, and I'm compelled by my friends and saying, you know what, okay, share with us. Now I have, about me, I have studied this knowledge for like about 30, 35 years now. I think it was like beginning in 91, 1991, when I started reading about astrology, and then got into palmistry and numerology, as well as the knowledge of Haruf, which is Ilm Jafar in Islamic world. Um, uh, and obviously, Jewish religion has different Kabbalah, and this, and there are different kind of names they have. But I'm more into. I don't use more technical words. I don't use um, phrases that are more like strictly define certain things. I usually use a very general statements to explain general things. I want to make it very, very easy for you. Books are there to learn a technical word. This is a finger and this is a phalang, if I say the part, for me it's easier to say part rather than a phalang. So I will use words which come to my mind, because when I'm in thinking mode, I am talking and I'm saying things. Okay, so coming back, there you can see, there are hands. You can look at a hand like from a very distance, and you can see, mostly you'll see that this is kind of I have four fingers and a thumb. A thumb is oh, sorry. So thumb, and then we have certain lines that we see that every hand has it. So that's where, it intrigues you to learn that why we have some similarities among all the, like fingerprints, for example. Everyone has a fingerprint, but it's all different. Everybody has lines. They are similar, but they look different. Like humans, we are all similar. Two eyes, nose, ears, and two hands, and everything is similar, but we look different. So this is the sophistication that we are looking into. That even though these lines, they look similar, but they are different. They tell the story, and the story is not in just one line. If somebody is just looking at a heart line, this is a heart line, and this is a brain line. Okay, this is a brain line, and this is sorry, this is a lifeline. So a lifeline goes starts from here in the from the this is Venus, the mount of Venus, and that talks about all your family matters, your personal matters. Next time I'll use pictorial and more, because at the Zoom I will have the luxury of sharing my screen. So in the screen I'll have a better pictures and all that. So what do we do is that we will recognize. We'll talk about in next session next Monday. I'll have a more comprehensive lecture ready for you with all the pictures and all that. I thought I will be able to do it, but sorry about that. So but I don't want you to go away without taking anything. So, a hand, the thumb is your personality, and this is you, and this is your root, where you're coming from, is your family. That's your immediate siblings, your parents, and your personal life. What you like, what you dislike, how your life is influenced. This is why Lifeline is actually covering your Lifeline is covering your personality and your family. So this is how you are carved in the very beginning. Like I said, you're born, even if you're in the womb, you're being shaped, you're being featured. You're having nose and eyes and hands are growing. You're forming a personality right in the womb, and then you're born. And when you're born, that your time starts. So all is influenced right here. We can tell exactly what kind of family you are born in, what kind of a personality you have, your parents have, your siblings have, or whether were born poor, or whether you were born rich, in a nice educated family, or whether your childhood was not as good and pleasant. Maybe you are an angry young person. And maybe you have a lot of distractions as a youth. And if you are learning from those lessons from your life, as you're growing, um, you come across different kind of experiences, and you learn from your experiences, and then you tend to become mature when you mature. So we can see that tendency, that how you are actually going, and actually learning from your experiences. So all this is written right in your Lifeline. Okay. No, the some trends are like temporary trends, some are permanent trends. How do we tell that what is a temporary and what is a permanent trend? For example, a person a person is, for example, a thief, for example. Are you really a thief, by profession, or by temperament, and you like to be a thief? Are you are just happen to be in a situation where, let's say, somebody was dying of hunger, and you just went and you became a Robin Hood, and you went and you stole something and you gave it to the poor person because you didn't have the money to help out. Or you yourself was hungry, and you wanted to steal something to fill up your stomach. So it's all like compulsions, different kind of compulsions. So how do you tell? So the the good thing about it is that Lifeline is supported by your brain line, how you think, because it has to be a thought process before you do anything. Something has to hit your mind, come into your brain, and then you process it, and then you act upon it. So how you act upon it becomes part of your recording on your Lifeline. So what is on your Lifeline should be on your brain line. So whatever is cooking in your brain should also be supported by your heart, your emotions. How do you take the emotionality, the level of emotionality, to feed some kind of a thought that you have? For example, if you are if you are doing your homework, for example. Some kids don't like to do the homework, and they are just forced to do homework. But the other take passion, and they are always on top of it and ahead of it. So those emotions, those passions are measured from your heartline. So the heartline is emotion, passion, your love line, whatever the emotional sentiments and emotional feelings you have are from the heartline that runs across from outside of the palm towards the inner of the palm. Okay, so the beginning of the heartline is from here, and it ends over here towards the thumb. So the pinky side of the hand is the beginning of your heart. And this is why you have Over here, the your love affairs or marriages or your children and those kind of things that are part of your love life. Children are born out of the passion that you have towards your marriage life. Same way, the headline and your lifeline starts from inside of the palm. It's the opposite of the heart line. It starts from here, and then lifeline goes travels all the way down. Some lifelines will end up here, away from your thumb, or some of them will just come and like you have a little bit of here going and curving into back into your thumb. So they will have a different kind of shape. They can split, and they can spread in two different ways, outside and inside. They can have two different line or several small lines uh, going up, and then there are some small lines here. Like this one in the middle, vertical line. These are all vertical lines or fit lines. So, in my opinion, every line is a fate line because it tells about you, who you are, what you can be, and where you will be tomorrow. So, what you do is that when you look at a hand, you have to look at every single, mark or reading that you can do within the hand. You cannot predict or tell about a personality without looking at lifeline, without looking at the heart line, without looking at brain line, without looking at the thumb and the type of the thumb, the fingers. And hand is actually primarily a canvas. So if you do like your hand like this, okay. So right now you're looking at my hand, it looks more like square. You know, it's very very square, goes up and looks like very square here. If you look at my type of my fingers, the fingers also appear to be square. They go up and then come down, and mostly all the phalanges or the parts of those fingers, three finger parts, they're also nearly squarish. And and then you have thumb. Thumb is standing out, but some people have a more closer thumb that goes up and extends up. And then you have some people who have a thumb that is very prominently coming out and literally bridges out and then goes up. So in next session, I'll be able to show you a lot of examples. So we'll go through very quickly in different kind of shapes, and then you can later on you can actually take notes on those. And okay, so this is a general, and on if you look back, you can also tell, that the front of the hand is different than the back of the hand, slightly. But it's generally speaking, it talks about, it tells you that, okay, it's more squarish, still squarish, but now you can see slightly a cone, square becoming a slightly a cone. And if I keep my fingers closed, or these are my normal hand, or this is how I do. So you'll see a lot of people, say, hey, you guys. So they use, wide finger. They open up their fingers too wide. Some people don't open fingers. They're a normal gap. You can see the gap. You can study. You have to be very careful. If somebody's doing like this, and you say, oh, the person has a closed fingers, that means entirely it's a different definition. But by looking at these gaps, you can tell that this is okay. So the gap, the gap between the fingers is you have a gap, and that is a how much the gap is. So by looking at that gap, you can tell a lot about the personality of the person. So, and then some fingers are crooked, they are tilted, like they tilt and go towards different fingers. That's a different story that tell, and so on and so forth. Then there's the size of the fingers. So, if some people do their hands up, sorry, some people do like this hand, this way, when they take a picture of their hand. Now, this part looks very, very small, and the finger looks very long. So if you are looking, some people, and most of Facebook groups, I've seen that dozens and like hundreds of people, almost 90% of the people, they publish their hands like this. You cannot tell if that hand. Now here, my index finger looks longer than my sun finger. This is a sun finger. So this finger looks much longer than this one, which is not actually is not true. The truth is that these are all both fingers are equal fingers, and this is a longer finger. And then you have to look at the mercury finger. So this is how you identify. First you have to start reading the hand, if you know if it is big, small, conical, square, whatever the shape of the hand is. It is not difficult to you don't have to memorize anything. All you have to do is you have to how people open a hand, if it looks squarish, it looks odd. Normally, 80% of the hands you don't have to really pay too much attention to. They are like more very general. They are most of the people are practical people. They have a very similar hand, very very minor changes in so. But some people have literally very long hands, like this one. These hands are like they go extend up to there. Very tall hands. Some people have very narrow, like really, you can actually by looking at this, you get stuck with the hand, like it's just like somebody's missing a nose, so you will look at the face and say, what guy's missing a nose. You will notice that. But anybody who has a nose, you will not notice that, because it's part of the normal life. So having ears, for example, everybody has ears, so you don't pay attention to it. Everybody has a nose, you don't pay attention. But you only pay attention when there's no nose or there are no ears. So same way, when you look at a hand, some of the hands are very very abnormal hands. So then if you see the abnormal hands, just note down, see what you saw. This is where you actually begin your study. You you don't want to start off with a very common hands, because there's hardly any difference between the two in the canvas. Because I believe, this is my study, that I believe the hands, the shape of the hands is a canvas. Like when an artist, he goes out or she goes out to draw a painting, um, to paint a painting, they first buy a canvas, and the canvas, they put down a basic background colors. They For example, a light blue, a grayish for the skies, and some green for the and brown for the landscape, trees and all that, and woods, and maybe blue for the so the three main colors on the canvas. And then this put down a general, there will be buildings, there will be trees, and they put down a certain sketch on the canvas. The canvas is which takes different kind of pictures or paintings on it, or drawings on it. So the painter will then make it more sophisticated by drawing details into that kind of an object that he or she draws. So the hand is actually a very, very much like a canvas. So it has a shape. Is it your canvas a square canvas, or your rectangle canvas, or is it a conical, or is it a round canvas? You can see that wall hangings that of different shapes. So it's just I'm trying to compare the two things so that it makes sense to you. So the hands are basically a canvas that act as a basic um, uh, trait of your. It tells the personality that you have. The same way, like the sun sign in astrology, you're a Cancer, or you're a Sagittarius, or you are a Capricorn, or Aries, or something. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm an Aries and I act in this way." I don't believe that. I can bring you 20 different Aries and they will entirely be different. In my family, I have like, I think 15 Cancers. We are all different, entirely different. What makes them different? Because, and what is Cancer then? Cancer is a canvas that gives you a canvas, like if you are in a sea. Cancer is a water sign. Assume you are in a sea and you're doing everything that people do on Earth, but you're not doing it in the water. Same way, Taurus is an Earth sign. So everything is more rigid, more uh, belongs to whatever the Earth does. And similarly, the other signs, air elements and the fire elements. So so those elements actually add to whatever personality you have, or you're going to build, or you're going to be. So this is why it is very important um, that you look at hand as in a canvas. When you look at a hand as a canvas, then all you have to do is look at, oh, it's a square person. So if I look at a person's hand, it's a square hand. So square hand people are part of a general part of a society. They are the people who are like the links of a chain. If you look at a chain, every chain has several links. So the square hand is a practical hand which actually links the whole society. They work, they do things, and they make sure the society runs in a very peaceful, nice manner. So by looking at a hand, I can say this person is a hardworking person. He's a contributor to the society, and he's a more general personality who will be next door. You would like to have a person next door as a neighbor because you will not have any harm or anything. Or as compared to a person who has a very, very tall hand, was more intuitive, who was like a very thin in percentage. A thin hand will have a thin body, definitely. So the person who doesn't eat anything, doesn't come out of the home, you will always be wondering if he's your neighbor or she's your neighbor, that the person is still alive in his her home. What is she doing? Maybe she's a couch potato and never. That person is not even getting out of the couch for several days, and maybe doesn't eat for several meals. So so by looking at their hand, you can actually some hands are like very pointy hands. Pointy hands are more like intuitive hands. They can, if I look at a pointy conical hand, a spiritual hand, what some people call it. So if you look at a spiritual hand, I'll be more careful dealing with that person because he has she has the ability to go into you and read you. They are very intuitive. The moment you make an expression, they will understand what you're going to say. So they will be like as if they're reading your mind. Um, so when they are reading, when you feel that and you can actually feel they have a very piercing, strong, beaming eyes that you feel them going through you, and they are reading you. And the moment you utter something, you open up your mouth or you make a gesture of your hand, or some expression on you, they already know what you're going to say. But some people are patient, they will listen to you. Some people will just interrupt you and say, oh, I know what you're going to say. And they are very accurate about it. So those people are intuitive. Usually those are priests, political leaders, for example, successful political leaders who can actually deal with thousands and thousands of people at the same time, because they just look at them and they know who they are dealing with. They can read people quickly, very quickly, and then they go in. and and then if you have intuitive hand plus a square hand, for example, it could be a mix and match. So a person who is a very practical person, part of the society, and at the same time he can read or she can read the person, other people, and they know exactly. So they can be very, very fast in what they do. Um, People can. I don't want to name personalities right now, but maybe later on we can discuss some VIP hands. Like for example, Trump. Trump is a good example of a person who comes from a working class, and then he was a business, but working means that he actually had a business to run, and then became a leader, or maybe other people, what they do, and we can look at their hand general shapes to start with. So this way we can determine what kind of a person you are, how you use your hand. I see. I'm constantly showing my hands, uh, um, and this is a deliberate effort to show you how I'm using my fingers. I'm closing them. If I'm like that's again study. If you're using your hand and you're you're trying to control yourself, right? These are like so it's a study of your human features, that when you do certain things with your hands, like oh, and then okay, everything is fine, and you use different kind of gestures with your hand, and you not only that, but you're exposing yourself. So people can expose. Right now, what I'm doing is somebody who's a good reader of hand can actually look at gestures of my hand or something, and they can read me, who I am, which way I think, what are my priorities, and things like that. So this is very important. So this is what the first lesson is going to be, that we'll look at different kind of shapes. We will not be reading lines yet. That's a very sophisticated thing that will go, and that will be a second part of the lectures. The first lectures, I want to spend a very good time, and it will be in very, very simple words. I will explain it in a very ordinary way, without using strong, heavy terminologies. Um, and so, just explaining in a very common words, that the shape of the hand can be identified by just you're like 20 feet away from the person, and the person waves at you, hi, hi, how are you? So right now you're looking at my hand. You can read 50% of my personality right there. 50% by just looking at the shape of my hand. You should be able to tell a lot about my personality, and that's what we are going to discuss. And you will see. And then what happens in the 2 years ago, when I started teaching a few students of mine, the very thing first thing they did was they started noticing people's hands, and they had very, very nice experience, and they came and told me, and they were so excited, like a kid goes to the school, and his first experience, he comes back and tells his parent or her parents that what happened in the school. So the same thing, and I liked it. Start first. I want you to go out and start looking at people's hands and see, they are small, big, narrow, narrow, literally narrow. I mean, they are not as wide, they're like half wide, literally. You will see them. And the best way to judge their hands is from the proportion of their body. Some, like, the boxers have a reach, from they measure from one point to another, and then the half of it, and they see what is the boxer's reach. So some boxers are like half an inch smaller than the others, and that means it's a winning factor. So the body has different sizes, proportionate sizes, and that's how the beauty defines it, because we are geometrically perfect people. So, but some people are not, and that's where we study them, why they are not, and why it is, and how they are going to be, because of that asymmetrical, or dysmetric, sizes. So the hand should be according to your height, weight, and the general look. If you look at a person, sometimes you look at very, very chubby people, they're like really round shaped, chubby people, and their hands are lying, half of their arms are lying on their tummies. So it looks like their hands are small, but they may not be small, but it's the appearance, because because they're chubby, so it looks like they're short in some way, like their legs are short, or their body proportion is not even, it's not proper. So the same way the hands are, like, they should be part of your personality. It should merge into your personality. So the first observation you are going to make is that if that um, person, his or her hands are very large to his or her personality, or very short, very thin, very slim, very delicate, too strong, very rough and guff, like a really a laborer's hand, for example. So you start observing the different kind of hands. As soon as you observe those hands, you will start to notice the shapes of the hand. So what we do is, in the next session, I will bring in all the different shapes, different hands. Actually, show you the different kind of hands, and I'll use Zoom as a board, so that you can actually I can share the screen, and then you'll be able to have some idea that how these things, and then I will be able to draw on that. So I'll have more capabilities. I'm sorry. Again, I apologize that I had some, because it's my first ever session on YouTube. So I wasn't very familiar what goes on. I usually make video and I upload. That too are very casual videos, and I keep talking and saying things. But I'm working on making those very short professional videos, and then they would be available to you. You can actually go and see. We can start talking about individual things, like one thumb only, and within the thumb, different kind of things, and just short and sweet you know paragraphs or text coming with that. Um, so I want to thank you for today. If you have any questions, you can actually type in your um, what the text box. I can answer those questions. Uh, I didn't say much today. It's a general talk. I just didn't want to make it more technical because I'm not able to use my Zoom, plug in my Zoom with that. I tried that. Again, it required, there were certain license issues and certain path issues, because I'm also a professor in university, so I teach data sciences in master's class. So I'm using the Zoom that I have is from license from the university. I didn't even know that I could use that. I had to seek permission from my university if I can use it for my personal use. If they allow me, then I'll use the same license. Otherwise, I'll buy my own license. But again, I wanted to make sure how many people are interested, how many people are coming. If that happens, then I can start using different kind of tools to incorporate, because I want to make sure that things are happening the way they are supposed, and you learn the way you want to learn. And ask me questions, about anything that to make it more interactive. Um, you can type in. If not, then I'll see you next Monday. Hopefully, but that then it will be a lot better. Hopefully, yeah. All right, thank you very much, and I'm going to end now. And I'll see you next Monday at the same time, 1 p.m. on Monday, every Monday. I'll see if I can. I'll put up a recording up there, and also I'll see if I can do twice a week, because some people have a hard time in joining at this time because it's Monday daytime. Uh, I'll see if I can do it on a weekend when more people are available. So we'll come up with something, some kind of a better strategy. All right. Thank you very much, and goodbye to you. And if you and any of my students out there, they can actually come to WhatsApp if they want to, and they can chat me there, over there, and I can share some information if you like to. Next time, I'll also share I'll share the WhatsApp number if anybody else outside wants to connect to me, or they can just email me and send me a message right here. Thank you very much, and goodbye to you.